Okay, the volume of a sphere is 288 pi centimeters squared, centimeters cubed. Look up the volume of a sphere formula. You look up the volume of the sphere formula. It's 4 over 3 multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius cubed. This must equal 288 pi. On both sides, pi gets cancelled. The next step is to bring over the 4 over 3. It's multiplied by 4 over 3 on the left. When it goes over the other side, it means it's divided by 4 over 3. Get 288 and divide it by 4 over 3. 216. R cubed now equals 216. And as we did before, what this means is R has to be equal to the cube root of 216. This tells us what number multiplies by itself 3 times to give you 216. So the cube root is found above the square root, and then you get 216. The answer is 6. R equals 6 centimeters. Now, part 2. Find in terms of pi the total surface area. It's the surface area of a sphere. Surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared, which is 4 pi multiplied by 6 squared, and 4 pi multiplied by 6 squared is 4 pi bracket 6 squared. What you get there is 144 pi. Anyway, class, get that one? Well done. Okay. Now, surface area of a sphere is 36 pi centimeters cubed. Find the volume of the sphere in terms of pi. You read up surface area sphere. Get the surface area formula. Surface area formula is 4 pi r squared. 4 pi r squared equals 36 pi. The pi's will cancel. I'll bring the 4 underneath. R squared equals 36 over 4. R squared equals 9. Therefore R has to equal 3 centimeters. Now that we found out that R is 3 centimeters, find the volume of the sphere. The volume of the sphere formula is 4 over 3 pi r cubed, 4 over 3 multiplied by pi multiplied by 3 cubed. Once again, you might enter this into your calculator. Should be the best way of doing it. And then we get 3 cubed. And we get here is 36 pi. How many people got that one? Okay. How would you rate this question? Next one. The cylinder and the sphere shown on the right have equal volumes. Find the length of the radius of the cylinder correct to the nearest centimetre. Okay. We can't currently find out the volume of the cylinder, but we can find out the volume of the sphere. Volume of a sphere is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. So V equals 4 over 3 multiplied by pi multiplied by 8 cubed. Now what is that in the calculator? So I can reuse what I did last time, except change that into an 8. What I should get is, well, I suppose this number here, 2048 over 3 pi. So 2048 over 3 pi. Now, we now know that the volume of the cylinder is the same thing as the volume of the sphere, isn't it? So what we do next is we find the volume of a cylinder formula. What's the volume of a cylinder? Pi r squared h. Okay, put all of them together. Pi r squared h equals 2048 over 3 pi. What happens first? The pi's cancel. What number is h? Can anybody tell me? H is 12. Where does the 12 go? Goes underneath, doesn't it? So now we're going to get r squared equals 2048 divided by 3 and divided by 12. What is that number? 2048 divided by 3 bracket 12, which is the same thing as 36. And we get 512 over 9. Now, r squared equals 512 over 9. R therefore must be the square root of 512 over 9. Square root, bracket, 512 divided by 9. And the answer is, we'll put it in decimals, I suppose, 7.54. Then we get r equals 7.54.
Yeah, but I rounded it up to 8.
And just ask you to round it up to the nearest centimetre, and you round it off to 8 centimetres. Okay. Now, number 10. A basketball fits exactly into a cube which has sides equal in length to the diameter of the basketball. What percentage of the cube's volume does the basketball not occupy? We can do this two ways. Okay?
Yes.
The two ways is, no matter what size the radius is, or what size the diameter is, it will always be the same percentage. So you could just give it any number you want and calculate it out that way, and that will tell you what happens. So I'm going to do this two ways, okay? The first way is, I'm going to make up a number. I'm going to make up a nice number. I'm going to make up 10. The diameter is 10, yeah? And if the diameter is 10, what's the volume of the box? Can you tell me what the volume of the box is? Okay, it's 10 by 10 by 10, which is? It's 1,000 centimeters cubed. What's the volume of the ball? The volume of the ball is the same thing as the volume of the sphere, which is 4 over 3 pi r cubed, which is 4 over 3 pi multiplied by 5 cubed. And what's that get you in the calculator? 523.599. Call it 0.6, okay? Which one's bigger? Which one's bigger, guys? The volume of the box. Now, volume not occupied. How do you get the volume not occupied? Volume not occupied is take them away from each other. And what happens when you take them away from each other? 1,000 minus, what's it, 523.6? And we get 476.4. Now, how'd you get the percentage not occupied? Anybody? Percentage not. Go ahead. What are you saying? 1%. Not so much that. It's the volume not occupied. The volume not occupied divided by volume of box multiplied by, anybody? Percentage? What you multiply turn stuff into percentages? 100 over 1. So what numbers do I put in? Anybody? What numbers? 476.4. Volume of box multiplied by And what's the answer for that? Anybody get 47.64%? Alright, so 47.64%. Now, so in this question I misread. I actually got the percentage not occupied as opposed to the percentage that's occupied. It's a very simple fix. All I have to do is just rub out this volume occupied. And what is the volume occupied again? 523.6. Multiply that by 100 over 1. And when I multiply that by 100 over 1, I'm going to get 52.36, okay, percent. Sorry guys, 52.36%. So 52.36%. Okay. Now, there's another way of doing this, which I'm going to show you now, and it's sort of the more mathematical approach to doing this. Okay. So the more mathematical approach way of doing this will be the following. We're going to keep all of this occupied, all of this, and what you could do is you could use r cubed, okay? But when you use r cubed or r squared, it's actually going to get slightly messier, okay? So, okay, this one. 9 metal spheres, each of radius 1.5, are dropped into a cylinder partly filled with water. If the spheres are totally immersed, this means that all their volume goes into raising up the volume of the water. Find the increase in the height of water. The increase in the height of water is a cylinder. The volume of the cylinder of water i.e. the blue part, or the part that's shaded in the black, equals the volume of 9 spheres. The volume of the cylinder of water is given to you by the formula pi r squared h, where this part here is h. Okay? It equals 9 multiplied by, now the volume of a sphere is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. We want 9 of them. 4 over 3 pi multiplied by, what's a 1.5, yeah? 1.5 cubed. Let's figure out what the size of one sphere is. The size of one sphere is 4 over 3 pi multiplied by 1.5 squared or cubed. And what this equals is 9 over 2 pi. Multiply my answer by 9, because I have 9 of them. And what I'm going to get is 81 over 2 pi. Pi r squared h equals 81 pi over 2. Now, next question I'm going to ask is, what's r squared for the cylinder? What's the radius of the cylinder? 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. 9 pi h equals 81. What can we do with the pi's, guys? Cancel. Where does the 9 go? Underneath. We're going to get h equals 81 divided by 2 multiplied by 9. Or same thing as 81 divided by 18. What is 81 divided by 18? 9 over 2. H equals 4.5 centimeters. 9 over 2 is the same thing as 4.5. Is that alright? Happy enough with that? Okay. What's the next one I'm doing? Now, this one here. A container is in the shape of a cylinder on top of a hemisphere as shown. The cylinder has a radius of length 3 and has a total height of 15. This means that the hemisphere also has a radius of 3. Okay? And also, this means that it goes 3 down. This 3 down takes away from the 15 to give you that the cylinder is a height of 12. Okay? Now, find the volume of the container in terms of pi. It's the volume of the cylinder plus the volume of the hemisphere is the total volume. The volume of the cylinder is pi r squared h. Pi multiplied by 3 squared multiplied by 12 plus 4 over 3 pi multiplied by the radius cubed, 3 cubed, because it's 4 over 3 pi r cubed. Now, what you can do here is you can put it all in, but the volume of the cylinder is 108 pi, and the volume of the hemisphere, it's a hemisphere. Excuse me, guys. A hemisphere is half the volume of a sphere. So I need to half it. So whatever my answer is, I'm going to half it. So we'll put this into the calculator. We should get a 4 over 3 pi r cubed times 3 cubed. And what we get is 36 pi. Divide that by 2 because we're halving it because it's a hemisphere. 18 pi. So 108 pi plus 18 pi gets us 126 pi. This is the volume of the container in terms of pi. 126 pi centimeters cubed. The next question says that if half the volume of the container is filled with liquids, this means that half of 126 pi is filled. This means that there is 63 pi filled in the container. Now, the first 18 pi is filled by the hemisphere. So take away 18 pi from 63 and we get 45 pi. We now know that the volume of the cylinder of water is 45 pi. So all we have to do now is the following. We just, volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what is the height of the cylinder. And I'm going to call this height x. It's therefore pi multiplied by, what's the radius of this again? 3 squared multiplied by x. And that has to equal 45 pi. What we're going to find out now is the pi's will cancel. And we'll get 9x equals 45. X therefore is equal to 5. The height of this cylinder of water is 5. Is that the total height, guys? Is that the total height of water? What do I have to add on to it? Have to add on the hemisphere, which is of height 3. 5 plus 3, 8. The total height is 8 centimeters.